Well, it's Valentine's Day, and I know what they do. And the Americans haven't really released a sort of Valentine's Day type movie for, you know, the couples out there for this year. Maybe they've done it in like over their native country, but over in our country we haven't really got anything from them. But luckily we can count on us British people to bring out a Valentine's Day movie just in time for the big day, and that is I Give It a Year, which is actually wasn't really what I was kind of expecting for it to bring out, but overall I actually did really like this film. Okay, so British romantic comedies tend to be mostly of three things. One, they're always on par, right? Second, they're always good. And then second, you always get that really good, that classic one that you'll know that will be watched throughout all the generations. This one I felt is just a good one. But it is a bit more original in a way. Because basically the premise of the whole story is, you know, they get married, I think, after just being together for 7 months. And of course they say, right, someone says, oh, I give it a year. And I don't know whether if I don't know whether if it's straight after like their honeymoon or times went after that. I kind of like forgot about it because I didn't really pay that much close attention to it at that point. But overall, it's the whole film is the progress of them, you know, being a newlywed and then discovering whether or not they can like live with one another and all the problems and shenanigans that happen throughout, you know, kind of a space of a year. But obviously we're seeing at the start of the film, right, and this is actually literally at the start, so it's no kind of spoiler that they've had trouble, right? They've had trouble, and we get to see the progression of the trouble. This is actually what I find was pretty cool, because you probably wonder, oh, is it going to be something stupid? And to be honest, it starts off, maybe it's something stupid, but overall you start to see some of the reasons, and you know, they find like a sort of new new interest or something, and they let it, but they're married. That kind of, so it's pretty cool. I think for me, the star of the show was Anna Faris. She's been in a lot of films over like the past decade, but the problem is she's never really had that kind of big break. Like, she was in all the Scary Movies. She was the last sort of big production I know that she did was My Super Ex-Girlfriend with Uma Thurman, but she was just kind of like a more support sort of side. This one I thought was kind of really good. I love what they did sort of with her, and overall I think this is probably her best film that she has done in quite a long time. There is a lot of problems with this film, obviously. It's not the most perfect film. One of the problems I have is with the two main cast is the chick from X-Men First Class. I can't remember her name. I think it's Rose Byrne. I liked her in the film, but you always see it mostly from her point of view quite a lot. So, and they kind of make her feel as though like she's like a bitch in a way, which is quite sort of unfair to say. But it's the way the film they move this, they focus this film on her. They kind of make her look like she's been like the absolute bitch out the two. Then you've got the guy from, you know, the writer from Life of Pi. I can't remember his name. He doesn't really get a lot to do, and he gets to look like this sort of the douchebag in a way, because you know he's a writer, so throughout the film he's having sort of writer block. And he just kind of like, he just lazes around, and there's this point, they two go to this party, and you kind of see the way he kind of acts in this party. He kind of acts like someone who really doesn't really know what he does, you know, that kind of way, like something a bit out of his league in a way. But there's two main big problems I have, right? One is some of the supporting cast. Two people in mind, right? One is the sort of best man for the guy. I do not like this guy. I think he was funny, but then he kind of went a bit over the top in a way, and he doesn't really get much screen presence. Like, you only see him at the start and you only see him at the end, so you don't really see a lot of screen presence with him. And then the other one is this chick who is married to this doctor. You know, she doesn't not like, she hates her husband, right? Let's just be blunt, she hates her husband. And she always kind of has something really bad to say about him. And there's this point, I'm going to spoil one point throughout the film, is there's a point where she said, like, the main actress asks, like, why are you still with her if you don't really like, why are you still with him if you don't like him and whatnot? She says that, you know, I may not like him, but I still love him, right? So obviously they have a kiss, and then the guy then says something, and I think he goes for another kiss, where he goes, no, that's enough, and, you know, goes, well, it's like, you utter whore. It's, because I just think that's totally unfair, and that just makes her look like a really, really big bitch. But my main gripe is they try to make this film completely funny, like from start to finish, and I thought there were some scenes that really shouldn't sort of been trying to be funny, and then there's other scenes that would probably could have done a bit more, like sort of better. But it is really funny, it is interesting, and probably the best thing I like is actually at the end, because it's one of those ends you think you know what's going to happen kind of thing, but you're actually quite glad it did and not gutted, or because it's not that predictable. Did I really have a good time watching this though? I did. It's a really good rom-com, you know, it's really good. People, when I went and saw it, people loved it. I think this is a really good movie, maybe for like date night maybe. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. I don't think I might see it again. It's, you know, Blu-ray purposes, probably not buy it straight away. I need to wait and see about that. But overall, I liked it, I enjoyed it, and it's worth a watch.